Hi YouTube. Like I said in my confession video, I said that I would be changing things around. Well, this is the Shanghai channel without the rope dart attachment. This I'm going to be going over techniques and how to be using this little ring as to your advantage. Okay, YouTube, so we've got our Shanghai shadow out, it's in our hand, and we have it for right now in reverse grip. Okay, so the way that you're going to hold this is you're going to have it, your index finger looped through the loop there, and you're going to be holding on like this. Okay, now if you remember my open grip, right, reverse grip, work with this from an open, right, this will be helpful for you because it is a double-edged blade. You do not want to close this grip because, hey, now I'm cutting into my arm here. That isn't good. Okay, the only way to close this grip without cutting into your arm is to simply move the knife along the inside of your arm like this. Okay, but still. Okay, now a lot of people have been saying about the ring, and Cold Steel, their video, they talk about adding an extra 4 inches by gripping with the ring alone and all that stuff. Okay, you have to understand how we can use the ring to our advantage. Okay, obviously we're not going to fight like this. Okay, obviously we're not going to try to hold them at bay like this. Okay, so here's the thing, that 4 inches of reach, yeah, it's there, but it's only needs to be there for just a split second. Okay, and here's what I mean. If I have my knife concealed, and this is where the strength of this weapon is really where it's at, is the ability to have it concealed and then out, backward, just boom. Okay, well, let me slow that down for you. I'm going to take it out from here, and I'm going to throw my arm straight out through here. And I'm just going to let go of this thing, more or less, with these 3 fingers, and I'm going to keep my finger hooked like this. Okay, and it's just going to rotate along that finger and then come back. Okay, now if I wanted to, I can just let go with these 3 fingers, let the knife circle around, and then stop it here with these 3 fingers as soon as it's made its first rotation. So here's what it'll look like. Boom. Okay, now when you start flipping this thing, you have to understand that there are times when you want this to rotate freely and times when you don't want this to rotate freely. When I want this to rotate freely, I'm just going to flip it back and open my fingers like this, right? So you see how this happens? I'm just opening my fingers, right? Anytime I want to stop this thing while it's rotating, I'm just going to reach my thumb over the loop, and you see how the handle is longer than this distance here, so it'll stop right here on the web of my thumb, so I don't have to worry about that coming back and biting me as much. Now, when will it come back and bite you? Well, if you're flipping it like this, right, and let's say you relax your wrist. Okay, so if I have it spinning backwards, I relax my wrist to where it bends this way, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to cut my arm. Now if you see there, that's a cut right there. How you think I got that cut? Think I'm going to relax my wrist next time? I don't. It happens. My point is that if you're training with live blades, you will get cut. So not only can we flip this way, right, we can also reverse it and flip from the outside. Now incidentally, when we flip from the outside, it lines us up for this position from the top. Now what's great about this position is it allows us to have a very powerful downward strike. I mean, this thing hits like an axe. It's crazy. All the time, you know, and here's the other way of flipping it. You can flip it outside of your wrist like that and just bring it straight up. But when you come back down here, like this would be something that you would use to crash down on a straight thrust to the stomach. Okay, so if you remember the tendon that I was telling you about on the inside of the arm, yeah, this would be great for that. And basically you start off from here and boom, right? Okay, now after you come down like that, okay, after you come down onto that arm just like that, okay, all you have to do is just reverse the flow. All you have to do is go from here to there and boom. Okay, so let's slow that down. That stab is coming in, I'm stepping offline, I'm bringing my knife down, I'm cutting into that arm, and quite honestly probably through that arm, and then just reversing the flow back up to the neck. At speed, it'll look something, even if I start off with this thing just hanging here. At speed, it'll look like something like that. Okay? Alright. So, that's something that we can use here too. Something else that's really important is that even if I have a reverse grip from here, anytime that I want, I can just throw this straight out into my opponent. I think it's called the snake spitting venom or some crazy technique. It's a Chinese thing. But basically what happens is I throw this out using my tricep and I just throw it straight out. And when I throw it out, I just let go with these three fingers, and that causes this knife to fly straight and rotate around my hand. And then when I bring the hand down, the knife just does here. Try not to spear yourself in the leg, but you just boom, right? You just boom. Okay. So you, right? You basically just throw it straight into your opponent's face. Just boom. Okay. Then you flip it back. Great thing about this is that my opponent doesn't really know. One, my opponent shouldn't know that I have a weapon. Two, he doesn't know the range and the reach of this weapon. So, you know, quite honestly, unless, you know, even if I'm right here, okay, here's something else, here's another trick for you. If I hold my knife like this, all you see is the point, if you see anything at all. Okay? And even if I turn it just slightly, you still have no idea how long that knife is. Okay? If I do this, now instantly you have an idea of how long this knife is. But even with that, if you don't understand how a ring dagger is used, you don't understand, you think that the length is from guard to here. So your mind will automatically say, oh, it's this long. Alright? But it doesn't have the understanding that it's actually that long. See the difference? Okay. That's something else. So a lot of these things are little tricks that a lot of people don't understand. This is a double-edged knife. When you're using a double-edged knife, you have to use both edges. Okay? I'm just going to show you a few things about a double-edged knife that you can use to your advantage. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and show you from a forward grip at this point. Although I could just as easily show you from reverse. I probably will. If there's a attack coming at my face, you remember how I showed you how to deal with that using the reverse grip by stepping out and stabbing to the neck here, or stepping out and cutting it this way. Okay. Now, from a forward grip, I'm just going to want you to step blend in with the movement. Okay, blend into the movement. I'm going to start showing you guys how to actually start blending with the movement as it comes in. Okay, so instead of just simply getting off the tracks or getting out of the way, which was the first thing that you need to understand, I'm going to actually start kicking it up a notch. I'm going to actually start teaching you how to blend with the movement. Instead of just either stopping a movement by camming it, or by stopping it short, or by crowding it, or just getting out of the way and then charging in. We're going to progress to the point where we're actually starting to blend movement. So if that strike, okay, let's say it's a slash to my neck, right? So it's /1, okay? So if they're doing /1, I'm going to just step in and I'm going to bring my knife in the way. And I'm going to intend for our friend inside the elbow, okay? So I'm just going to step in here, block it with the knife here, okay? Now, since it is a double-edged knife, if I wanted to cut across the neck, I normally would have to turn my wrist, wouldn't I? If it was a single-edged knife. But since it's a double-edged knife, I don't have to worry about that. I can just shoot past that shoulder, and I'll know that my knife blade is past that shoulder. So I'll know that that's right up there beside the neck. And then all I have to do is just bring this hand right across, and understand that in between this arm and this blade is my opponent's neck. So all I have to do is scissor. Okay, so once again, boom, boom, and I'm just shoving that hand just right past on the other side of the neck, and I'm just drawing past. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm just blending with the movement, just like that. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Okay. The only reason this arm is here is to make sure that his body doesn't try to go that way. Because if his body tries to go that way, he's going to be moving out of the way of my knife. I don't want him to do that. So, I'm going to stop him right at the neck with my arm here. Okay? My arm is not in danger in actual practice because I'm going to have to cut through my opponent's neck before I get to my arm. So, I'm not in danger. He's in danger. Okay? So once again, okay? Like I was showing with the punch daggers, I can block using the knife here and come back in here. Boom, boom, okay? Boom, boom, alright? Something else that a lot of people don't actually show, and I don't know why. If you are using a knife to defend yourself, and for some reason they use their offhand to punch at you, or something like that, just go ahead and put your knife right in the way. Whether they see it or not, it really doesn't matter. Because I'm going to show you what actually happens when that happens. That knife will find that space in between the knuckles. And what's going to happen is by the time it's all said and done, the point of this knife is going to be sticking through those knuckles, and it's going to look like that from the side. Okay? Literally. Only it'll be through here. Okay? Your opponent will actually punch through your knife. and that'll separate these bones in the hand. Very nasty, and it'll pretty much stop whatever thing they were deciding to try to do. So that's something that you can always use. Just once again, block with the edge of the knife. If you have to block something, go ahead and block with the edge. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that when it comes to swords or whatever, but I don't see any swords out here on the streets much. So block with the edge. Okay? Block the arm with the edge. Block, come back across here. Come across here. Alright? Block this way. Come here. Block this way. Okay? Don't forget to use the reverse things. I can, even with the knife like this, I'm going to have to be careful doing this, but if my opponent throws a punch at me, I can always trap using this. And with it being a double-edged knife, guess what? Not only am I trapping and pulling, I'm also skinning that arm on the way down. So let's say there's a, right? Once again, we're going to go back to the open hand stuff, or the open reverse grip, right? So we're doing this, and we're doing this, right? So we're blocking it out this way, and we're coming straight into the neck. Well, as I block it out this way to that arm, I'm going to be skinning that arm as I pull it, and as I come back in. Okay? Some of the good things about using a double-edged knife. It does take some more skill, it does take some more forethought, but it really is worth it. I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your views, I appreciate your time. Defend your homes wisely.